Greetings, Onion Slice, and welcome back to my channel. So with the rumors of Resident Evil 9 being in the works, and with the confirmation of the director being the original director for Resident Evil 7, a lot of people are speculating and wondering, is it going to be in first person, or is it going to be in third person? RE4 Remake and RE2 Remake were a huge success, so it would make sense to go back to third person camera view. But of course, people are considering first person because RE7's director is working on it. So let's start by saying first person camera angles or third person camera angles, I don't think they matter too much when it comes to making a good game. But of course, people have their own preferences, and so do I. So that's why we're going to be talking about that today. So I prefer, right off the bat, I prefer third person camera view. And I grew up with the fixed camera angles. But I do believe the third-person camera view is the way to go when it comes to making Resident Evil games. Mostly because, you know, and I might be a little bit biased, the original trilogy of Resident Evil games, they were not in third person, but they were with fixed camera angles. But the cool thing about that is that you got to see your character at all times. Leon and Claire, or Jill and Chris, you got to see them doing things, running around. You knew that you were playing as those characters. And I think a huge part of the appeal of Resident Evil is not only the amazing environments, but also the characters. And stripping a game of that, I think, is taking away a huge part of the game. Now let's give credit where it's due. First person is absolutely beautiful for graphics, and it makes you really appreciate the absolutely stunning visuals of the RE engine, which, by the way, is set to be scheduled to have an upgrade real soon. We will be getting a new version of the RE engine, and I suspect it will be with Resident Evil 9. It was leaked that the next RE engine will be called RE Engine X, which stands for 10 if you're looking at it with, you know, Roman numbers in mind. And guess what? 9 is IX in Roman numbers. But that's a little bit too much speculating. But yeah, so let's give credit where it's due. So in my honest opinion, seeing your character, whether, you know, that's a new character or not, makes the game 10 times better. That's my honest opinion. But of course, I'm not saying RE7 or 8 were bad. In fact, RE7 was pretty good in my opinion. And that was the first game that was in first person. At first, I felt a huge disconnect between me and the character. I didn't really feel like it was me who was playing. I just kind of was like, I'm just doing puzzles and killing monsters, which is essentially what you do in a game. But I didn't have that suspension of disbelief, so to speak, because I don't know, I guess it's just a me thing. I wasn't seeing myself in the game or anything like that. But yes, I don't think first camera view or third person camera view matters when it comes to making a good game. In fact, RE7, like I said, I felt a huge disconnect at first. But Ethan does grow on you and you start caring about the story because the acting is top notch in Resident Evil games. Well, at least the recent ones. The recent ones. And of course the classic ones, but the recent ones really have stepped up their games. But not only the good voice acting, but the gameplay of RE7, although not the best, it had the core principles, the core things that make a Resident Evil game good. You know, really good puzzles, immersion. It was made with Resident Evil 1 in mind, and you can really tell. When it comes to RE Village, though, which wasn't directed by the person that's working on RE9, or, you know, the person that's working on RE7, that's important to say that this person, Nakanishi, was not involved with RE8, at least not in a direction sort of position. RE Village just doesn't feel the same way as RE7. Of course, the first camera view makes a return, but it just feels like, you know, it's a good game. It's just not as good as RE7, in my honest opinion. Mostly because I feel the disconnect of between, you know, I can't care about Ethan that much. And I just feel like I just feel like a lot of things like you just saw there don't really fit with Resident Evil. I just don't feel like I'm playing a Resident Evil game. There is no gore. I know that sounds really bad to say, but enemies kind of just feel like they're bullet sponges sometimes. And I mean, if you take a look at a clip from RE4 Remake, you see enemies react to everything. You see pieces of flesh coming off the zombies or ganados. You see them lose limbs and get stunned. Sure, you can still stun these ones, but they're just kind of like, you know what I mean? Aside from a few spots of blood, the character doesn't really change. And it's more like an arcade shooter rather than a horror game sometimes. But, you know, reactions aside, I think overall RE Village was an okay game. It could have been better though, had they gone the slower route of making it more, you know, focused on the core principles of Resident Evil. But alas, you know, we look forward to RE9. I think Resident Evil 9 will most likely be in third person, mostly because first person camera view was set to... Capcom said that the reason why they went with first camera view in RE7 was to restart and make the player actually feel like the character. They wanted to have a blank slate. That's why Ethan doesn't normally have reactions that are too crazy or anything like that, because they wanted the player to be the protagonist of the story. And also, they made that game with VR in mind. That's why I think first person is done for. I don't think we're going back to that. I think Capcom has said, well, Capcom has confirmed the Winter's storyline is done. They're not going to touch that again. They're going to be doing something new or something old. But the next game, Resident Evil 9 or whatever it is, will most likely be in third person. That's my honest opinion. But of course, I still think there's a small chance, of it being first person, mostly because this is what people are used to nowadays with the main story. So, but other than that, I don't see any other point in making it a first person game. I truly believe it will be in third person. I mean, Capcom has seen the huge success of RE4 Remake and 2. They know that's exactly what people want. But of course, even if it isn't, I will be here playing it, so make sure you subscribe, leave a like, let me know what you guys think about this in the comments down below. I will be reading all of your comments. I want to know what you think the next game is going to be like. I personally think it will be set in a new era in the future. Not in the future, the near future. Probably the current future, 2025. And it's probably not going to feature any old characters. I do believe they will restart and introduce a brand new character. But of course, they will make references to the existing world, like Raccoon City and, you know, perhaps even reference Claire Redfield or something like that. You know, that's just me hoping they do. But remember, it's okay if things change. You know, it's inevitable. And we have to remember that games are made to have fun and not to fight over. So if you're a third-person camera angle fan, first-person fixed, you know, that's okay. I'm glad you care so much about it to you know, I like that you care so much about it to get upset over the camera angles. That shows true passion. But remember, it's Resident Evil. If you like Resident Evil, you'll still like it. And if you don't, then wait for the next one. Anyway, I'm gonna head out now. Have a great weekend, and sorry for not making a longer video or a more interesting video. I am kind of feeling sick a little bit, and I hope it's not what you think. But that's all I have time for you today to do. So, also, in case you didn't know, I made a lot of guides for Resident Evil Village for the mercenaries, so check those out. And yeah, I'll see you next time. Bye bye.